Hello, I'm Paddy.
And I'm Claudia. These are tonight's headlining stories.
Handcuffs in the bedroom, handcuffs outside, doesn't matter.
Flash, bang, wallop, love bears all and then gets arrested after microphone hurling ruckus.
You're barred. EastEnders snubbed for Best Soap BAFTA.
Plus, Mamma Mia, Ulrika scoops Mum of the Year and a free bag of toffees.
Liquid News, recorded live at 8 with Claudia and Paddy.
By coincidence, my lips and Spencer's lips were perfectly, you know, in sync. All of these real stories are coming up. Plus, I See Dead Rockers, Kylie's sixth sensation as Hutchence reaches beyond the grave.
And on tonight's show business sofa, this town ain't big enough for the both of us. Expect sparks to fly in the studio. Best shoes of any guess. Full stop.
Shoes. Let's see the shoes.
Yeah. Top marks.
Oh, wow.
Shiny.
Like spats. But first, it's all gone tits up for Courtney Love after her comedy court appearance in LA this week. Last night, the Hole in the Head singer flashed her lady parts at TV host David Letterman.
But that was just the start of her big night out, which ended, as mine tend to, in her getting arrested and losing her house keys. At least she avoided a late-night kebab at the tasty Tooheys Bite on the Harrow Road. Over to Steph West in LA, who's looking delightful. Steffi, what's going on with Courtney Love? She's bonkers.
Courtney Love was in New York for two reasons. Firstly, to appear on Dave Letterman and then also to do a secret show with her band. Now, her appearance on David Letterman was a sight for sore eyes, but that was nothing compared to later on, when one of the audience ended up bleeding profusely from the head and Courtney was arrested for assault. It was certainly a night to remember.
Please welcome back to the show, Courtney Love, everybody.
The minute she walked in the joint, you could tell this was going to be a spectacle after flashing Dave Letterman over and over and over. Courtney suddenly had a momentary lapse of confidence that all was right in her world.
Wait, am I being weird like Jennifer Tilly? You are sexist!
I'm sorry. It's nice
Hey, no! And I'm older than you.
No, you're not older.
Yes,
No, believe me.
I am.
Yeah.
All right, calm. Courtney, calm.
You have a lot of trouble, don't
Yeah, but I'm sexy.
you? Yeah.
She appeared to be on a talk show high, but by the wee hours she had crashed and burned. Police arrested her after she allegedly coshed a man when she threw her microphone stand into the crowd in a Manhattan nightclub. Her people say it was a mistake, but Love was charged with reckless endangerment and third-degree assault. She now has bi-coastal legal cases.
Let's chat about your life generally and how are things going? Are things going well now or not?
Yeah, they're going great. Handcuffs in the bedroom, handcuffs outside, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When she finally made it to her New York home, walking some of the way barefoot according to eyewitnesses, she found she'd lost her keys and stood outside until somebody let her in. One thing's for sure, she couldn't ring her neighbour, Nicole Kidman, because as she told Dave,
There's no secret that me and Kidman don't like each other. Does anyone ever really say that on talk shows that like so-and-so got second, whatever? All right, me and Nicole don't like each other.
You and Nicole don't like each other?
Period.
she says the bottom line is The Rock, but as her album American Sweetheart dropped out of the top 100 after just 2 weeks, Courtney looks to be hitting rock bottom. Now, as we said, Courtney was on a high last night with Dave Letterman, but when she was released by police in the early hours of this morning, she was shaken, she was very white, and she was crying, and one of the women who came to collect her, they hugged for about a minute whilst Courtney Love composed herself before she went outside to face the photographers.
Thank goodness for that. Hold that thought, Stephanie. Hold it. Tonight's well-behaved sofa guest. No stunt for us, flashing the old bosoms and walking. No stunts. Russell and Ron Mail, better known as legendary pop duo Sparks. Thank you so much for staying. And, well, it took 5 minutes to walk over here. And the Daily Star's gossip queen, Lee Purvis. Boys, to you first, or men, excuse me.
Can we see a little more of that bad behavior again, please?
You like the bad behavior?
Yeah, I'd like to see a repeat of that bad
whatever
behavior.
you want, we can bring you.
Look at that, from the beginning.
Have you been rehearsing with us or something?
Not lately, no.
It's already going smoother than it normally does at this stage.
Yeah.
That's kind of depressing, isn't it?
Yes, Ron, it is. Can I ask you if you approve of Courtney Love? Does she inspire you as a woman?
Well, we have a song on our new album. It's called What Are All These Bands So Angry About?
Right.
And I think it could apply to her. I mean, I think if you're going to be outrageous like that, I mean, do it with your music, you know? I mean, you know,
Well, I think you should do it with your breasts.
You see, I'm with you, Ron, because the music, it's called American Sweetheart. She obviously isn't. Nobody's buying it.
No.
To continue to get money and to continue to be famous, you're going to have to flash, right?
No, being quality-wise musically is like passé. That's very 20th century. I think you've got to do it with your body now.
Yeah.
You
Lee,
know,
you'd
she's-
agree with that, wouldn't you? I mean, there are lots of people all over your pages who don't really do anything.
Except expose
Yes.
their bodies. Well,
quite.
I think, you know, Courtney Love, I think she's doing the right thing. She wants to make the papers, she wants to get the headlines, go out, flashy boobs, you know, behave like a crazy woman, perhaps. And I think she knows exactly what she's doing. And we say rock and roll, and it's good to see a female, for a change, behave badly.
OK, should we go to Steph? I've got Steph, it seemed that she was loopy at the beginning, but did Letterman, which he sometimes does, did he sort of goad her on a bit when you watched the whole thing or not?
She was on for quite a while. She was on for about 12 minutes, and at the beginning, Letterman looked like he was bracing himself for a good time. But then halfway through, after he'd seen her breasts for about the 7th time, you could see him starting to feel that maybe things weren't going quite in control. And the thing is with Courtney Love is she talks, I hope she'll forgive me for this, but she almost talks like a groupie. She's obsessed with celebrity, so she's always name-dropping and referencing other stars, and she always talks as though they're apart from her. And so last night we heard a big story about her and Nicole Kidman, because they have the same apartment block. They're almost neighbours, and she's saying that she hates her. When she was in a lift with her one time, she waited just before they got to her floor, and then she sort of shouted some insult at Nicole Kidman. She was also talking about Meryl Streep, and she was talking about her criteria for whether you can call a celebrity your friend or not. And she says if you've got them in your cell phone, in your mobile phone,
Right.
then you can name drop them.
Well, it's very long and complicated. I'm losing the plot, to be perfectly honest. And I just want to ask, one of the things, I don't want to be accused of speaking up for Courtney. Bear with me, Steph, while I chat with Ron and Russell. But this is clearly a go at the post-Janet Jackson Nipplegate America that you live in. She's having a go at it. It's a joke, isn't it? She's saying, you're shocked by breasts, well, have them 7 times.
It's the escalation. That's all it is. You know, in America, you know, you can't stop at one thing. It's got to go beyond, 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 beyond. And also, the other thing is, I'm just shocked that she sounded like a groupie. I mean, that's like just shocking to me that somebody would find out that she sounded like a groupie. I'm just shocked that somebody would find out that she sounded.
Well,
like
because she name dropped? She does a lot there. I remember she
no.
did with Russell Crowe, or just because...
No, that somebody would think that she sounded like a groupie. That's just shocking.
She has so much musical integrity,
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah. And for somebody to think that she sounded like a groupie, I mean, that's just...
it's like, it's sad.
It's disgusting.
Steph, how is she going to cope with being in court on both coasts? How does that work? A lot
Well,
of
she'll have
travelling.
a court case on April 15th out here in LA, and then there'll be a preliminary date set for the hearing over in New York, which is for 3rd-degree assault.
Yes, we didn't talk enough about the boy who's ill in
We can't
hospital.
anymore. We've talked too much about Courtney Love. We're moving on.
Fine. Upcoming, Ulrika Soft Centre. Johnson named Top Mum.
Thanks.
I think I heard Steph trying to come back to fill us in on the microphones down.
She's coming back later.
Oh, good. There's no, we can ask her then. In other news from the day, Would You Adam and Eve It, EastEnders has been snubbed at the top awards in TV, the BAFTAs.
The nominations.
One more time.
You go ahead,
You
my
go.
darling.
I'll read the first bit.
OK.
The nominations for Best Soap have been leaked.
Like Rowley against an Albert Square lamppost, and EastEnders is nowhere to be seen. Colin Patterson got a small child to mind a stall and went to investigate.
Leave it out? Oh, they have. For the first time in history, EastEnders has failed to be nominated for Best Soap at the BAFTAs.
Yeah, well, that's life.
The shortlist is not officially out till next Tuesday, but the nominations are
Coronation Street, The Bill, Casualty and Holby City.
It's the second blow this week for Enders. On Tuesday, they were beaten by Corrie at the RTS Awards.
The Soap Award goes to Coronation Street.
This was a throwback to the first half of last year when Corrie was sweeping all before them as Richard Hillman was on the loose. The soap triumphed at last year's BAFTAs.
Never thought I'd be standing here holding this.
Holding a BAFTA.
Holding a BAFTA.
And at the Soap Awards.
I'm not sure what they're all for, to be honest. I thought I was only up for 4 awards. I didn't know I was up for 5.
But by the end of the year, with Dirty Den back and Phil Mitchell on the loose, EastEnders won at the TV Quick Soap Awards, the Inside Soap Awards, and the big one, the National TV Awards, where they were given it by Nancy Dell'Olio.
EastEnders swept the board tonight, and we all come out en masse, and we're really proud to be here. I'm really chuffed that EastEnders is back where it belongs. All right?
And that's why there's shock at the BAFTA Academy's snub.
They've had some really high-profile storylines in the last year that have really pulled in the punters. You know, Dirty Den's return, Little Mo's rape, Janine doing away with Barry. Perhaps maybe they think it's kind of a tad too depressing, a label that's stuck with EastEnders throughout the years.
And the non-nomination comes in the back of the decision this week by BBC One controller Lorraine Hegasy not to add a 5th episode of EastEnders on a Wednesday.
People can't watch all the time, dear, can they?
So does this mean crisis for EastEnders?
Colin Patterson, BBC News.
He's a god, Colin Patterson is a god, but EastEnders are snubbed, Lee. It's your fault, clearly.
Tragic. It's not my fault, clearly. Basically, it's so sad. They've won 3 times before at the BAFTAs, Best Soap. And if you look at the nominations, it's really surprising. I mean, Holby City and Casualty are not soap operas. BBC bosses are very disappointed, especially the EastEnders lot. They work very hard. A lot of people say the reason that they haven't been up and nominated this year is because their storylines are too outrageous, bringing, you know, Den Watts back from the dead and Little Mo getting raped twice. It's an interesting one.
But people loved it when he came in and went princess, and also Shane Ritchie, the most popular man on the planet. Well, slight exaggeration. I thought that would have helped.
Well, yeah. Perhaps, but I think what EastEnders bosses need to do is perhaps, you know, get rid of people in the cast. For example, the Ferreira family. I mean, they bore everyone rigid. I don't know if you've watched EastEnders before, but it's a family who are rather dull, to say the least.
Have you watched it before, Ron and Russell?
Well, actually, I haven't watched it, but my parents are huge fans of it. His parents too, since we're brothers. They're huge fans of the show, and it can be seen on. It was seen on BBC America. And unfortunately, they just pulled the show off for some reason. They were saying that the ratings weren't high enough, and my parents are devastated. So
it wasn't skewing to 85-year-olds.
It was
right.
It just wasn't hitting them.
No.
Why could that be, I wonder?
I don't understand it. Lee, who's going to win then? I mean, Corrie won RTS Awards, I think, 2 nights ago.
Absolutely.
They just...
Coronation Street are definitely, I would put my money on winning. This year's BAFTA TV Best Soap, no doubt about it. They've, you know, I mean, the storylines on Coronation Street have been far better than EastEnders. You know, it's just been fantastic fun.
The BAFTAs did make a cock-up regarding Gervais. Do you think this is just a big mistake and they can't admit, oh, we made an error again?
I think perhaps so. I think over the next few days it'll be very interesting. You know, people are backbiting and backstabbing left, right and centre, but I'm not too sure about that, but I definitely think Coronation Street will win.
Leave it there. Leave it there. I want to get on. Show business counsellors in Swansea are accused tonight, but they've accused Catherine Zeta-Jones tonight of trying to strong-arm them into shutting down a business next to her home. They've rejected Big Cath's claims that the IT operation in a barn close to her £1 million mansion in Mumbles would jeopardise her privacy. One angry alderman said if they wanted peace and security, why didn't they buy in Llandelo?
And that is exactly what they said, again. Lip-syncing. Mel Gibson's rom-com, The Passion of the Christ, is set to become the highest-grossing film in all of history. The all-Latin, all-Aramaic, romp has grossed 264,000 big ones and could outdo Star Wars and Titanic. But Jim, who plays the central character, that being Jesus, had more than money on his mind when he met his #1 fan, the Pope, this week. Here's Jim's full and frank account of his people encounter.
Did he have anything to say particularly to you and your wife, or was there any exchange?
Yes. It's all personal.
Well, there we are then.
Ooh,
Good.
That's rather scandalous, isn't it?
Yes.
I think it's like a title for you in the future, When Jesus Met the Pope.
Boy, I mean, that's pretty scandalous, you know. And the Pope is quite a cinema buff, so if he gives his thumbs up to that movie, I think it's worth seeing.
Is it your kind of movie? Will you be going?
It's a little violent for me, to be quite honest. I don't go for violent films like that, but and also I know how it ends.
Yes, that's the bummer.
You do know. I'll give you other news from the day, which you won't know yet. It's the guy who wears the bucket, the KFC bucket on his head, and talks through a hand puppet in the rock band. But even Buckethead has had enough of the eccentric behaviour of his Guns N' Roses bandmates. Mr. Head is said to be fed up with the band's inability to produce an album. The last one, after all, came out in 1991. He's told frontman Axl Rose he's not prepared to put his head in the sand any longer because that would mean taking it out of the bucket. He's flouncing off to work with some people called Brain and Pinchface, Russell.
Oh, it's a sad day, you know, it's a sad news day. One story after another.
I feel like we've really blown Ron with the news of the Buckethead.
I don't know. The shock of some of these things is just too much for me.
Yeah, it's like being on a roller coaster.
I don't know. It's just one thing after another. I don't know.
You think there's going to be another Guns N' Roses album, and now you're telling us this.
Yeah. EastEnders not up for a BAFTA. It's
you know, oh my God. Oh.
I'm so. How can I make it better if we talk about your album, perhaps? Like that.
Now that's some good news.
You see?
See?
But even that's not that good of news. You know, it's like.
No,
don't
do yourself
I don't want
down.
you to be upset. Huh? I feel like I should do a small jig.
No, what you've given us tonight, you don't do it down, because we're about to big it up, because you're giving us the first UK video play ever. So if you start saying it's not important...
Oh, no, it is important.
Right.
It is important.
Thank you. How important is it?
Oh,
it's very important.
It could not more important than the Pope.
Yes, that's true.
And here's a little moment for us to be judged and judge ourselves.
I am the rhythm thief. Say goodbye to the beat. I am the rhythm thief. Auf Wiedersehen to the beat.
Lights out to beat the. Lights out to beat the. Where did the groove go? Where did the groove go? Lights out to beat the. You'll never get it back. You'll never get it back.
It's the longest video clip we've ever played.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
I had a meeting with the Pope after this, but I'd rather not tell you what he told me. So.
Was it personal?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm glad you'd rather not tell us about it. The only thing I would say in return is that although Guns N' Roses, who we did mention earlier, last album was in '91, this one is your 20th. Yet you're not really considered mainstream and never have been, Russell.
No, I guess we haven't. Well, we just always want to keep doing stuff that's both provocative to our audience and also provocative to ourselves, you know, because after doing that many albums, you have to just keep coming up with new ways to present what you're doing and hopefully, you know, strike on something that's different.
Yeah, sorry, darling.
Is the UK a place that you remember as being one of the first to big you up anyway?
Oh yeah, yeah. In 1974 we came here and had a song, "This Town Ain't Big Enough for Both of Us," and where we couldn't get arrested, as they say, in our own hometown of Los Angeles. This country enjoyed it, so yes, we're happy for Great Britain.
This is rather brilliant, Top of the Pops. At the background, your new album, which is called Little Beethoven, you said you can't really put it in a genre. Where would people find it in a music shop? Describe a little bit. Not this one, the new song.
Well, there really aren't any more music shops anymore, as you know. The music industry has kind of...
died.
It's died. But if there were music shops, you'd find it in normal music shops.
Actually, it's not fair to say the music industry's died. We shouldn't say it. But what I noticed in the release of your new one is you've tried to glitz it up at the edges, Ron. You've put a video in there. You've put a computer screensaver in there. You've had a web following for a long time, people looking for you on the internet. Are you trying to find a new old-fashioned way to flog your song?
Yeah, there's socks, clean pair of socks in there, everything, you know. Anything that you can appeal to people for. Anything that you can't download is what is included with CDs.
And it worked for Mel Gibson, so...
Yeah.
Is that why I said to you earlier when I saw your... I don't have it here because, of course, I've nicked it, but your album is quite a nice little package, and you say, I believe, that you like the idea... You know, you don't mind all the downloading business. You like the idea of people wanting to own an object. Do you still stand by that?
We're old-fashioned that way. I really think that a physical object means something, even though it is sound. Having that physical object really makes it sound different.
The thing is, why, although earlier you don't like Courtney Love doing it, we want you to just, in a way, tell us some of your celebrity friends, whom there seem to be so many. Morrissey's in love with you. Franz Ferdinand's in love with you. You're in love with the Rolling Stones. Ronnie Wood's daughter's supporting you in your tour. You're a big celeb schmoozy.
No, we're flattered that those sorts of bands that you mentioned would find something appealing about what we're doing.
Meryl Streep as well.
Do you live next to Morrissey?
I don't live next to him. We live in proximity.
Do you hang out? Because he has, I mean, he is one of your most famous fans.
We have hung out. Yes, we have hung out together. Yes, even though he lives in proximity, but not next door.
What does he want to know about you, and what do you want to know about him?
He wants to know why we don't record exactly like we did in 1974.
Do you tell him?
That it's not 1974.
Okay. Now, we were going to go back to... Are we going back to Steph to talk about Franz Ferdinand and how massive they are in LA? Let's go back to LA. The gorgeous Steph, who's sitting by the pool. Franz Ferdinand has taken over California. They've said that Sparks is their favourite band. Tell us more about their hoo-ha.
Yeah, Franz Ferdinand are in LA this week. They've sold out at the Troubadour. This is their first proper gig here. They played a showcase at Amoeba Records the other night, and they're getting a lot of press. They're being played on K-Rock and the indie stations out here, and their album was released this week, and it's selling very well. Some record stores say that it's selling as well as the names that are well known here.
OK, Steph, thank you very much. Do you have a question for... are you missing home? Do you want...
Yeah, it's home. There it is. You're at the Don't Tell Me. It's where the Sky Bar is. It's not the Standard. Where are you at? Which hotel?
We're just in front of those hotels. We're down on the flats a little bit at Le Parc.
There's some pretty nasty Italian guys around there, so I'd watch it if I were you.
Steph, thank you so much.
Watch out for them. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Still ahead, come into my next world, Kylie's ghostly chats with Hutchins.
You're behaving like a groupie over there. You are. You're looking at an LA groupie. That's the truth of the matter. More Welsh rabbits now. The good people of Llandudno have gone insania for Peter Andre. His gig at the North Wales Theatre has sold clean out. But bear in mind that it's also the same venue where the Grumbleweeds packed them in for Panto. Sadly for Pete, the rest of Britain's got more taste. 24,000 tickets for his tour remain unsold.
We're going to talk about that in a tick. He's been dead for nearly 7 years, but Kylie just can't get Michael Hutchins out of her head. The beautiful pop pixie says her former boyfriend regularly communicates to her from beyond the grave. I've had one particularly intense experience that let me know that Michael was still around, she told the US magazine Blender. Like he'd come to say hello. What I'm most fascinated in is if the magazine is just about kitchen appliances and how they got Kylie. But first up, Lee, Peter Andre. So he was taken up there, people had forgotten about him by doing reality TV. Then there's pictures of him with Jordan in... You'd have thought people would want to see him sing. What's gone wrong for the man?
Too much exposure, actually, is what's gone wrong for Peter Andre, and the sheer fact that he did use a reality TV show such as I'm a Celebrity to make a massive comeback when actually all he had to offer is, you know, the re-release of Mysterious Girl, which, yeah, sure, it was great, got to #1, but he's certainly a one-hit wonder, and it'll be very interesting to see what happens for him next.
Sorry, can we just hear it? Why did we not have the ability to listen to Peter Andre? Ron and Russell, can I just ask you to be like an old jukebox jury? What do you think of this?
It's got nice
Can you
body.
turn it up? What do you think? Go for it, Ron. Go for it, Russell.
It was a girl without any clothes on, and like we said earlier in the show, that we like that, so that's good, and that's a hit.
It was a hit, went to #1. Again, after 6 years or something, Claude.
Yes. Lee, should he disappear then? Are you also just saying there's just a bit too much? Because he did say some fantastic things. He used the word insignia a lot. Chris Moore's got behind him. This boy should be able to pack them out. Should he just disappear and forget the whole Jordan thing?
I do actually think he should totally disappear. I think, you know, him and Jordan, well, it's going to be an interesting one to watch. We do see Jordan and Peter Andre out and about together quite a lot. In terms of, you know, coming back as a pop star, I think this is really as far and as good as it's going to get for Peter. And I think perhaps he should turn his hand to acting or try and come back with something fresh rather than a stale product.
Ah. I'd buy that if I was Peter. I'd be like, note to self, do something
we should have tried that.
You don't know. Why should you say a thing like that?
No. We never get advice.
You do need it?
No, we had to come on a television show to find out that that's the trick to the whole thing.
The whole thing, doing a bit of acting.
Yeah.
And coming back with something that's not stale.
Yeah. We didn't know that that was something that was a key element.
It is key. I've got more bad news now for Catherine Zeta-Jones.
No, good. No, not good for Catherine Zeta-Jones.
No,
sorry.
but good for us because it gives us another topic.
OK.
She's been beaten by Ulrika Jonsson in the coveted Quality Street Celebrity Mum of the Year award.
Unlike poor old Catherine, Ulrika snatched the title from under the noses of her and supermodel Kate Moss, who's said to be devastated at the snub. Vanessa Langford boiled hot towels for Liquid News.
She's been through her fair share of self-imposed tabloid tales and failed romances, but with one flick of the PR's wand and a shower of sweeties, Ulrika Jonsson is transformed effortlessly into Celebrity Mum of the Year.
Ulrika, just round this way if you don't mind.
You'll buy this, won't you? Her superior celebrity child-rearing skills saw off the likes of Catherine Zeta-Jones, Jade Goody and Kate Moss, who no doubt will be weeping into their Dr. Spock books.
Oh, I like Melinda Messenger, apparently. My agents told me.
This highly scientific survey was carried out on behalf of a leading chocolate brand, but Liquid News would like to point out that other sweeties are available. Orange cream, anyone? With 2 kiddies in the bag and another in the oven, Ulrika's life is one long struggle of juggling baby formula with personal appearances. But when it comes to priorities...
Right on the floor.
The Liquid News interview comes first.
Predominantly, I'm a mum, you know. If I had to put down what my occupation is, I'd probably put mum.
And in terms of being a celebrity domestic goddess, Ulrika is right up there.
Home, for me, is much more important than work or anything else. And I see myself as a very nurturing person, so I'm at home all the time.
7 months preggers with Lance Gerard Wright's little mite, Ulrika's hoping his squeamishness will disappear when tot number 3 shows up.
I don't think he likes talking about toilet things, but he certainly doesn't mind changing a nappy.
And as for her next trick, this super celebrity mum is ready and raring to go.
We've got to make a noddy cake next, so that's my next challenge.
Vanessa Langford, BBC News.
Noddy or big ears, that was always the big debate, wasn't it? It was a toss-up. Lee, what's she going to do now? It's good that she's won this thing. Do you think Honest and the documentary and everything is behind her and she can have the baby and then come back and have another massive TV career?
I think perhaps she will make a comeback over the next year. I think she'll need a year or 2 out, perhaps. But I certainly wouldn't describe Ulrika Jonsson as nurturing, as she describes herself. And I think it's absolutely hilarious that she's won this over Kate Moss, who's, this hip-happening cool mum. I mean, Ulrika Jonsson, I really just, it's quite a shocking thing that she has won it, especially after the last year that she's had and the way that she has courted the press. She's a very clever lady.
Guys, you first came to Little Britain in the 70s. You lived here for a while. You're coming back. You're seeing us with our obsession with this woman and her chocolates. Are you ashamed for us, or do you see another side to us, Little Britain?
I don't know. I don't know. She should take off her top like Courtney Love. I don't know.
Just basically more bosoms.
More bosoms, yeah, Okay.
And
it would be a statement too, because she's, pregnant, and that would be, kind of liberating.
Art.
That it would be art.
Art.
Yes.
That's the end. On that note, goodbye.